Somebody's here. No? Somebody join? Somebody join? That was a major delay. There we go. How you doing, John?
Hi, how are you?
Good. All right.
Hello.
Hey, Summer.
Hi.
Sal, can you do a screen share and show me where you got that link? Because last week when I was trying to help you guys get on, I had no idea where to get a
Sure thing.
link to. Thanks.
Yep. Turn off my camera. I'm getting some audio feedback. Like I'm hearing our own conversations a few seconds after it's going. I'm just got to figure out which.
Sorry, I think that's me. I'm trying to get my headphones going.
Yeah, I don't know. It maybe.
That happens to me if I have it open in two windows, Sal.
That's what I'm wondering if I have it open in another window. I'm trying to check. Let me see.
I was having my tabs open, so digging through them all.
I see it. Yeah, it does show. Okay. I think I just killed the other session. Yeah, it looks like it started in a mini viewer. All right, so just want to share my screen real quick. Aha, I should click on my face. That's nice. I don't know if that's going to work. So at the top of the bar where you actually have all your different controls for the Google Hangout, there's one icon that has like a person's like kind of a silhouette and a plus sign next to it to invite people. And when you click on that, there's actually a link in there, and it shows it as a permanent link, so you can bookmark and come back. And I don't know if that means you can use the same session multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And just have it continuously record and add to it, or it records each session every time you jump in and out. I know with Hangouts, regular Hangouts, not Hangouts on here, you could use the same meeting multiple times.
Right.
But that's where I found the link that seems to have worked.
Thanks.
So once I fired up the Hangout on there, it was just that. There's a link there in that area.
Super.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so when I pull this over, it doesn't give us the eternity effect. Okay, so who are we missing? Jacob? He was there a second ago. You got Keith, John. Okay. Keith, you got meeting minutes this time?
Yep.
Awesome. You got it up and open then?
Mm-hmm.
Good, man. Okay. Let's just give Jacob a second to get back in here.
So
I've not checked. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go first.
All right, I was just going to ask if anybody, I didn't see anything in the regular community page for our class, any new videos or topics from our teacher, because I know there's nothing in iLearn, unfortunately. So, anybody see anything new?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, there
Yep.
you are.
All right.
Cool.
Sorry about that. I had to restart my machine.
No worries. Anybody see anything new from Troy Tuckett?
A few days ago, but not anything like really recently.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like you only had. Yeah, there's nothing new. Okay, good. So I think we're good as far as that part. I tried, Keith, I don't know if you saw, but I was looking at trying to put a poll up, or try and figure out which app we work on as a group. But obviously, I figured out how to create a form, but then I was trying to post it to our team board like you did the other day. Yours looked pretty stylish, and I could not figure it out for the life of me.
Mine was just a built-in Google one, but it definitely had some limitations, I will say. But I did get it to work eventually. So
Did you use Google Drive for it, or you built it right there in Google Plus?
I just clicked on poll in Google Plus. So
I tried finding that option. I don't know if I've just not got the right version or what. Okay.
I don't know. I can add it if we want real fast.
Yeah, it may help. We just have a quick team poll, and maybe at the end of the call, everybody. I don't know if we want to figure it out before we wrap up the call or right now, or what do we want to do? What are you guys' thoughts? I know, Jacob, you did this class before. How much time and effort was actually put into the team app versus individual app? It doesn't seem like they're actually graded, but it's supposed to help us with our learning.
As far as I know, there wasn't a lot of effort put into the team app in the last class
Okay.
that I was in, but that was a different teacher. So I don't know exactly how much weight Troy's going to put on this one.
I mean, from the reading, from his discussion posts and everything, it seems like the intent of the team app is just to have a group sandbox for us to practice different types of code and whatnot. That's my understanding. I don't know that he's going to grade the actual application.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to grade the actual application. In fact, I don't even think he cares about the the functionality of our applications. It's just the fact of whether we can kind of pseudo make the code work in it.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how that's going to be graded, or if it's going to be graded at all.
Okay. What are you guys' thoughts? I mean, as far as team app, do we want something moderately complex? Do we want something super simple?
Because we have to do double apps, like for ourselves and the team, I vote let's go simple.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like to be an underachiever, but we have a ton to do in this class.
I will second that motion.
Okay.
I agree.
I'm down. All right, so the 5 suggestions we had from our group, we had Jinsong, you had the inventory app, right? Just a basic cataloging of your own materials and values and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
Okay. Keith, you had like a recipe app, like where you could basically, was the idea you could go download a recipe and then?
Yeah, it's basically a shopping list that basically you select any recipe on multiple sites and it will add it to your recipe list, like add all the ingredients to your shopping list.
So would it parse the ingredients from the recipe, or you would manually enter those?
They would come from like real websites like All Recipes or Yumly or lots of different ones. So.
Okay, so it would take the stuff that's on the recipe, parse it out, and actually break you out a list for you of the actual ingredients.
Exactly.
Was there an API for that, or is that?
Yeah, I found an API that we can use for that.
Okay.
We could implement, we could actually use an API for a list app too if we wanted, so we don't have to build that from scratch. So whatever we want to do that way. But.
Okay. And then Summer, you had the price checker app, or basically would just compare prices to other stores in your area.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any of you guys worked on any of these projects in the past where you have some baseline code already started for any of this, or these all
No.
new ideas?
I got nothing. It's all a new idea for me.
Okay.
I've done a little bit of research into the APIs and stuff, but that's as far as I've gone with it. So.
Okay. And then let's see, Jacob, you had the sales tax shopping spree app, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then mine, I think mine was probably the most involved as far as multiple different components, because I was talking about having a scheduling component, listing activity, like a game finder app where people could go like log in and check on their zip code and see what activities are going on in their area. They could then, I feel like mine was probably too busy. So I'm going to nominate mine for first elimination.
Sorry, what was Jacob's?
Jacob's was the shopping spree sales tax calculator.
Okay.
So
I'm wondering, Keith, if you know what kind of like how difficult it would be to integrate with those with the sites, the
Well,
recipe sites, because if that is manageable, if you have an API.
I'd have to look a little bit deeper into how the API works, because some of them are really easy. Yelp was not. That's what we used for my mobile application development class. The reason being they have like a private key that you cannot expose to the user, so we had to do all of that in PHP to be able to make the request, which was not very fun. But not all APIs are like that. Some of them are actually really easy to get results from. The great thing is we have options. There's not just one website that we can get the information from. So if we don't like one, we could do a different one. But I would have to double check on that, to be honest.
okay.
Do you want me to actually post a poll, or do we want to decide now?
I think we should probably just decide.
All right,
Okay.
let's do it. So how many? Yeah, what are you thinking? Go ahead, Summer.
I was just gonna say, I feel like the sales tax one wouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, there's a little bit of logic for us to play with in there.
Yeah, I'm like the only thing I can think of as being a huge problem, and this is just me with my simple understanding, is like accounting for different states or maybe different local tax. And we don't necessarily need to do that in this.
Keith,
It doesn't even have to be correct, honestly. We can just say every state's got, the first 25 states got this tax, and the next 25 got this tax. Kind of thing.
a lot of that stuff you can find online, where you can actually pull the tax based on zip code or stuff like that.
Yeah, my idea was creating a sheet that had the state and then the tax rate that it was at, and just using JSON, or JSON, whatever however you pronounce it, to select your state and get that information back. So it says, okay, you selected this state. It's got a 2% sales tax or something like that.
I feel like that's a pretty doable idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would work.
So if you guys want to go with that, that's. I mean, I've kind of planned out what technology I want to use for what part of the app that I've got, and I wrote out a little sheet how to kind of what I was planning.
Will you be so sad if we totally hijack your app? That's the worst part. Like whoever's app we use has to come up with a whole new idea. That stinks.
I think he can still probably kind of go his own direction with his personal, like a personal version of it. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think you need a whole new idea.
Well, what do you think, Jacob? If you want, we can try to come up with our own.
No, it's fine. I don't mind. I mean, it's definitely something that I would use. So if the group made it, I would definitely use it.
Yeah, I can see myself using it, walking into a store trying to figure out.
Yeah.
If I go buy a car in McKinney, Texas versus Dallas, what's my tax difference going to be, and
Yeah.
key it all out. Be kind of neat.
And then I had some other things that I wanted to do with it afterwards, so I could try to integrate those in my own personal one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, and for me that's great because I also was thinking I could integrate that into my app as well, or some, back
Sure.
and forth.
Yep.
I
So
think that seems great. So
right.
is everyone okay
I'm
with
fine
that?
Yeah.
Anybody opposed? All
Great.
right. Cool. That was easy.
So what's
Yes.
next?
All right, so what are the next main objectives for this week? We definitely got to start
Next.
basically.
Wait, is someone taking meeting minute notes, or should I start
Yeah,
doing that?
Keith has that.
I'm taking them.
Oh, way to go. You're way ahead of me.
All right. Let's see. There's our team topics. So we've got team topics set aside. Are we going to do the team teaching again on Saturday this week, or do we want to do it tonight? How do you guys
I
want
vote
to
do
do
it
this?
tonight.
Okay.
I'm cool
If
with
everyone's
tonight.
ready.
My wife's got dinner upstairs, so make it as quick as possible. That'd be great.
So
Got it.
you could do yours and then go, because you can watch ours later,
I guess that's true. Yeah, I could.
if you're okay with.
Because I'm ready. I'm good to go. I mean, you guys have already seen my code for my topic this week.
Yeah.
I showed it to you guys last time, so
Yeah, so if you want to
honestly.
just.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Whenever you guys are ready.
Okay, we'll make you the presenter. John, you okay to actually? You know, and the one thing he mentioned too, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but he did say that each week we don't have to have everybody present. Just throughout the semester, everybody has to present at some point. So every meeting doesn't have to involve 5 different learning topics being presented.
Oh, really?
That's the way I read it, and
Yeah, he did say that.
so
Which was not made very clear before, but yeah.
yeah, because one of the groups was complaining they had 8 people in their group and they didn't want to sit on a 2-hour-long meeting,
I don't blame them.
which I could totally understand. So I kind of vote for, because I think I'd get more out of somebody teaches, you know, like maybe 2 lessons every week, and then we actually have a little bit more back and forth, so I could learn, because I don't know this stuff, and I'd much prefer to have a little bit more Q&A.
Right. And then everyone else can just post their own like teaching video. Maybe.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Idea. It would cut down on meeting times, I think.
Right. So as far as for tonight, I mean, my vote would be, let's just, for each lesson, each meeting, we have 2 teaching topics that are presented, and then the others can be just done offline at a later point.
So do you want to just do all of ours offline this week? Just so we can try that once, and then we can do sign-ups and decide which 2 are going to be live next week. Is that okay?
I think for the meeting, I don't know how Brother Tuckett's going to look at this stuff, but I think he was expecting some team teaching in each meeting each week.
Okay.
So at least something. I don't know, though. If you guys, I'm going to go look at the post real quick that he put up and just double-check what I read.
All right.
And somebody else
Do you
finds
guys
it.
want to sign up for next week really quick while he's doing that?
Let's pull that up.
All right. Who wants to teach what?
I think
I'll do collections,
All right.
because that's super simple, and I like easy, so.
Jong, how about you?
This reminds me, I still have to make my personal.
HTTP communication. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
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 Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. HTTP communication.
Oh, I had my eye on that one. Oh well.
There's no reason you
Okay.
both can't do it.
Oh, it's fine. I'm just teasing. All right, Sal. You got a preference?
I have not looked at that list yet, but I'm just trying to find where this post
I'll
is.
take NBC this week if that's all right.
Okay.
And Keith.
Let's see. What's one that we haven't had a presentation on yet that we probably should? Or I guess
Socket.
Socket.io?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be good.
So,
Sure.
Keith,
Huh?
I got a question for you. Socket.io, is that just supposed to be server-client communication?
Probably. I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, it's not a most descriptive title in the world, but I could see it being that. I'll have to look at the links he posted and see for sure. That would be my assumption.
You can let us know next week, right?
Yep.
That's the theory.
Well, shoot,
All
I
right.
might as well just throw all the code I have up there because I've got some socket IO or some server client communication stuff as well.
So let's agree. I would love if you could do Socket live next week. So let's do Socket, and we haven't had Java collections. Do you mind doing Java collections live next week, or does someone have a different preference?
Oh, I thought I was signing up for Java collections next week.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I'll do
Next week, if you.
Yeah. I think I already.
Those are just my preferences. So if someone else wants something else to be live, speak up.
Honestly, Java collections is pretty simple. So I'm pretty positive that you guys are all going to be able to understand it like that.
Well, I appreciate the enthusiasm. I'm going to take your word for it. So, yeah, let's go with it.
I mean, I caught on to Java collections. I can do it. Anyone can do it, honestly. I mean, you guys have seen my code, and I had a lot of help with it. The Java collections I did all myself, so if I can do it, you guys can. That's for sure.
When you're
Sal,
getting
did you
help,
want to?
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sign up for a topic. That's all. I'm just being a pest.
Yeah, no worries. For next week, I think I had already set my own schedule. Let me just go check what I had selected. Sorry,
Good
I got
on
too many
ya.
windows open. Better try and stick to my schedule so I don't get docked points for being inconsistent there.
Just don't even make my schedule.
Me too. It seems way too. Like, it seems really hard to me to plan out this whole semester. It just-
Yeah, and I just took what he had in his screenshot and I kind of mirrored a lot of that structure. I'd be happy to send or share my copy if you guys want to copy it as a template. I'm more than happy to share it up.
Would you please?
I don't mind at all. Yeah, let me find the sharing link here.
Real quick question, completely off topic. Sal, are those headphones CM Storms?
No, these are Logitech. Gosh, I forget what they're called. I don't know, but they're pretty good. I've had them for a year and a half now.
Gotcha.
They have a wireless component, and they're very good at noise cancellation. I've been pretty happy with them. They're starting to kind of get a little sketchy here and there, but
Gotcha. Because I had a pair that looked exactly like that, and they were the CM Storms, and I freaking loved them.
yeah.
And I just thought maybe.
All right, so let's go. All right, here's my link. So for next week, I had planned. Let's see. So that's 5 and 6. So yeah, I was going to be working on Java collections and the HTTP next week, as well as application control pattern. So
I'll put you on application then.
yeah,
if
let's
that's
do
all
that.
right.
Yeah, for the team teaching, let's do that since nobody else is covering that for team teaching. That'll work. Okay. Is there a chat in Google Hangouts on Air? I don't know if there is.
There can be.
There's a Q&A, which
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can.
know, the feature's disabled, of course.
Up at the very top left.
Oh,
well,
there
it depends on. Yeah,
You're right.
there's like a blue button.
Okay. So there's a link to my personal schedule I set for the semester
Awesome.
of learning
Thanks for
and
sharing.
planning. Yeah, no problem.
Well done. Well done.
Bunch of copy.
We're
and
all
paste.
just gonna have the exact same schedule now. Change the name. Call it good.
That way we can hold ourselves to accountable for what we're supposed to do.
That'll be very clear.
Team collaboration. That's all it's about, right?
I got to force myself to do this stuff or it's not going to happen. So that's why I figure I better put it in writing.
That's kind of how I am.
And then I made a wiki for my understanding portfolio on GitHub. I don't know how you guys are doing that. I asked him if I could just do wiki style, and he seems okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody wants to check it out and tell me. So I just did wiki style for that one, where basically I put links to my calendar, I put links to the learning I've been doing, and then I'll add links to my code as well as I go, and I'll just basically have a insert each week.
Yeah, I just did mine in a Google Doc.
There you okay.
Wiki's a good idea, though.
Yeah, I didn't do that at all. I just emailed him.
Well, I emailed them a link to the wiki, and then in here, the nice thing is after I send them the email is I can update some stuff still, and I can kind of keep it working on it.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure how you went about form. Here's an email. This is what it is. Here's a link to my code.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to cover before we do the presentations for today?
I don't think so. So who volunteered to do something today? We have 2 volunteers.
Well, I have a
volunteered.
request.
Yeah, go ahead, Summer.
Sorry, I was going to ask if Keith could go over unit testing. Sorry, you're going to have to go 2 weeks in a row. You're covering all these hard topics, so I'd love to hear your opinion.
I was like, I'll throw myself on the grenade. We're good. No,
Cool.
just kidding. No.
And then, like, I don't mind going, but I'm doing JSON, which you guys saw last week, so.
Well, you guys
Yeah,
all.
for Keith.
And Jacob, you have something you want to cover this week? You want to go first? Because I know you mentioned you want to break to dinner.
Well, I had MVC, and you guys we went over it last week. You guys
right.
code.
Okay.
Well, if
Right.
we can have just 2 people go this week, or if anybody feels terribly offended about not getting to present when they prepared so hard, we can have more than 2 just this week if we need to. But
Right.
are there any other topics this week specifically that are pretty critical that we need to cover?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because this week we have MVC, UML, thread safe, parallel processing, JSON, and unit tests. So we've already gone over MVC and thread safe, parallel processing, and JSON. So UML and unit tests are the only ones we haven't looked at all yet.
Right.
So do we want to do those 2 this week, or?
I'd be good with that. Jong, you okay with presenting on UML at this point, or do you need more time?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, great. So let's do it that, and then, yeah, cool. All right, Keith, I'm going to set you on focus first and let you start us off, yeah?
Okay, yeah. Do we know what time we started the Hangout, or like live, so we can keep a record?
I can update it for you afterwards. Once the record comes out, it's pretty easy to click through and find the timestamps.
Okay, we won't worry about that now then. Okay. Okay, let me get my screen shared here.
Oh, that wasn't nice.
Huh?
Sorry, there's a lot of feedback, Jong. I muted you for a moment while Keith's going.
Mute him.
I'm going to mute Jacob for calling me out.
No, that's a good idea. I'll.
I'm just kidding.
Take it very personally. Okay. Okay, we might really mute. Is the feedback gone now? No.
No.
Who else?
Now, hey, John, can you go on mute while he's presenting? And then,
I'm sorry.
can you go on mute while he's presenting? Mute your microphone.
Oh.
Okay, perfect. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so can you guys see my screen? Those of you who are not muted, that'd be solved, I guess. Okay. Okay. So this is just a very simple example of unit testing. So just to briefly explain, the whole idea with unit testing is that as you code your application or your software, you want to be able to reliably test exactly like each different part of your application to make sure it works as expected. Especially on a large complex application, you could have individual methods that aren't performing correctly, and it could be hidden. You don't notice those errors for a while, and then they pop up in different places. So basically, unit tests are designed to test a specific unit of code. So for example, if you have a unit test and it's making a database call or something, that's not really a unit test because there's other factors involved. You want to only test one part. So something, and I haven't demonstrated this here, but something you guys will probably learn about later is we use what's called mock. So we use we mock certain parts of our, like if you're testing a method that calls the database, we mock the database call so it's not really happening, and then we have an expected result. So basically the old idea with unit testing is we give it inputs that we know what the outputs are supposed to be, and we check to make sure that those outputs match what we think they should be. And if they don't, then the unit test fails and we know there's an issue with our code. And the idea here is that you build these unit tests as you're coding, and even sometimes before you code a module of the code, and that way after you've programmed the module of code, you can run a unit test and see if it's working as expected. Does anybody have any questions about just the basic overview of what unit testing is for? No? Okay. And then another thing we have is called integration testing. I'm not really going to show you guys that right now. But integration testing.
I want to ask a quick question on your. You talk about mocking out kind of the endpoints and stuff.
Yeah.
I've heard some of our engineers refer to stubbing it out. Is that essentially the same thing?
Probably. I haven't personally heard that terminology, but I'm sure that's what they're talking about. For example, at Melaleuca work, we mock everything. So, and we have a mock framework we use that somebody has made. So whenever we have a database call, we just kind of imitate it, and we return a set result.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the same.
Stub code usually doesn't actually have any like mock code in it, so I think they're different in that stubs are just function names. Usually an empty return value.
So we're not returning anything in a stub. We're just saying, ignoring that part of it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, good. I learned something here. So sweet. Okay, so I'm going to just show you guys my example, and just a quick note on integration testing. That's when you take multiple units and you see how they work together, and that's also important. It's not what I'm going to be talking about exactly right now, but the topic is unit and other types of tests, so I thought I'd briefly explain that as well. So, but this is just an example of a unit test. So I've just created a little class here called, calculate trip stats, and I have a miles per gallon calculator and a miles per hour calculator. It's pretty simple. Miles driven divided by gallons used, and miles driven divided by hours driven. You'll notice one distinction between these two pieces of code, and here I've checked for a 0 value on gallons used because we don't have a divide by 0 error, correct? So, because we can't divide by 0, obviously. So right here I'm saying if the values, or if the gallons used is 0, then return 0. So we may as well return 0 for miles per gallon if you haven't gone anywhere and you haven't used any gallons, right? So now, obviously, if you had driven 10 miles and you had 0 gallons, that would actually be infinite miles per gallon. But that's not a useful result. So this is just a simple example. But I'm just showing how I'm handling a potential error. And you could handle errors with exceptions too, but here I've just done it with my logic. And I haven't handled that situation here. So my unit test, what I've done, and NetBeans will actually make the test class for you. Like if you tell it which class you want to run unit tests on, it will create most of this for you. So this one, like, it already made that all for me. I just modified the string here, and then I created some other ones. But
is there a button you push or something?
You just go up here and you go to New Other, and then they have unit tests, and you can say test for existing class.
Very cool.
And then it'll actually. Oh, you guys can't see the pop-ups, huh?
I see
that's
that.
Weird. Well, when I click another one, it disappears.
Oh.
But it's actually showing me just basically the stuff right here and letting me select which class I want to do it on. And so if I select calculate trip stats, see, it puts it right there. And then see, you can tell it what stuff you want it to do. And then when you click finish, it actually will put it in your test packages. And it's mostly all there for you. It just, by default, it will fail unless you go in and modify it and tell it what you want it to do. So right here, I'm putting in 0 for all of these. So I named this one test MPG 0. So testing what will happen with 0 values. And this is kind of the happy path and bad path thing where you want to have unit tests that test bad input that should cause it to fail and good input as well. And you can choose what you expect your results to be. So in some cases, you handle the bad input and you still return some sort of result. In some cases, you purposely throw an exception or something, and you can put that into your results that you expect. So right here, we've got 0 for these values, and then this is expected result. I'm expecting to get 0. And so right here I put result equals, and then I do calculate trip stats.mpg, and then I put in my miles driven and my gallons used. So I expect to get a 0. And then this is a built-in method called assert equals, and that has been put in here through the import junit.assert, and that was put in automatically by the NetBeans as well. And basically all this does is it looks for the values to be equal, and if they're equal, then it does a pass for the test, and if they're not equal, it's a fail. So in some cases, you could have a Boolean values here, so you expect to get a true or a false or something. These are all integers in this case. Okay, and then this one just here is a little bit different. I'm just putting in 120 and 4. I'm expecting to get those results of 30. And then down here, 0 and 120 and 2, and then 60 is my expected result. So now that I've got those done, all I have to do is right-click on these and click Run File on the test. And as you can see here, 3 of them passed and 1 failed. If you look at this, it says divide by 0, arithmetic exception. So you remember on the miles per hour, I did not handle that situation. So in a real world, if I ran this test, I'd go, oh, I haven't handled that type of a situation. I need to go in and fix that. And so one other thing I will point out is you don't have to write separate unit tests for every single value situation. You can actually parameterize them. So you can, I haven't done that in this example, but you can look up more information about that if you're interested. But you can actually have the same test method run with different values. And so that's a better way to do it, but I wanted to write out 2 separate ones here to make it more clear. But so basically it'll just run the same unit test multiple times. So under here it might say test MPH, and it'll show multiple times there. And so this is just a really good way to see where potential errors are in your code. Do you guys have any questions about that?
Now, do you want to fix the actual errors in the unit test, or you said you want a happy pass and a... I mean, do you want to leave some of these tests so that you know they're going to fail because you expect that if there was a bad input? Or is this you want to make sure all the tests are actually going to return a graceful response?
You do always want them all to pass every time.
Right.
So basically, the unit test is only going to fail if you haven't prepared for an error. Now, as far as the happy path, bad path, you find bad paths with your sandbox code so you can fix them. So like this is maybe not the best reflection of sandbox code, because in sandbox code you do purposely leave in broken stuff. Mm-hmm. And so if you put unit tests on there, then yeah, you're going to get some that fail. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
But in real world situations, what you'll do is, like, let's say that I have a database call that goes out, and there are situations where it could throw an exception, right? And you can't really prepare for all those. What you can do is you could put your database call in like a try catch. So it tries to do the database call, and if it doesn't work, then it rolls back the transaction, right? Mm-hmm. And then maybe you put in a Boolean that says, you know, if the exception wasn't thrown, then we're going to set the Boolean value to true, like it succeeded, right? And if we end up doing a rollback in part of that catch, we'll set the value to false. And then on your unit tests, you can purposely throw an exception and expect a false result. And that's actually an example that I was looking at work the other day. We had a broken unit test, and that was the situation. We wanted it to throw false because we're purposely throwing an exception, right? And so you're testing to make sure that your exception handling actually does what it's supposed to do sometimes too. So sometimes you're doing things, making things go wrong, but your unit test is still going to pass because you're expecting that result. That make sense?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate you explaining that.
Any other questions about that?
Sounds good.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I guess we'll let John go.
Okay. There we go, John. I've set focus on you. The floor is yours.
I'm nervous every day.
That's okay.
So today I'm gonna talk about UML. Give me a second. Share my entire screen. Here's my presentation of UML. So the UML stands for is the Unified Modeling Language. So it is a general purpose developmental modeling language in the field of software engineering that is intended to provide a standard way to visualize the design of systems. There are several like UML diagrams. First of all is UML class, UML sequence, UML state, UML use case, and use case description template. I'm sorry, wrong. Can you? There are 5 diagrams of UML. So, but today I just focus on the UML class diagrams. So, the purpose of a UML class diagram is the class diagram is to model that static view of an application. The class diagram are the only diagrams which can be directly mapped with object-oriented languages and thus widely used at the time of construction. So here is the simple class UML simple diagram. So under class name there are 2 names, attributes and method. So next in the car there car color and car price. For the methods get car color string and get car price. And the above maybe you can see, as you can see, the car part there is minus and plus. So there is the meaning of those things. So the above example of car class is self-explanatory. The car class has private instance variable car color, car price donated by minus in the UML class diagram. Similarly, if this was public, then it would have been represented as plus. If it was product, then it is donated by sharp. The package visibility is defined by this mark. What is this mark?
Called the tilde.
Tilde?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so here is the class diagram. It goes to like coding but Java. So it's a very, very simple code. There is public class car, private string car color, private double car price, and public double get car price as well here. So it's a really simple, but I didn't put any I didn't apply for my my project, but yeah, here is the simple code if you guys want use the this code. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Good. All right. So in that code example, then the public classes you said are denoted with a plus sign, the public ones, and then the private stuff like the class, the string for car color and the car price, those are denoted with a minus symbol. Is that right? In the diagramming. Is that what
yeah.
that?
Let me see. And for the minus, the car color and car price.
Okay, so that's the private stuff, and then the plus stuff is the public class stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good job. Anybody have anything to add?
I don't think so.
Any
No, it looks
questions,
really
John?
good. So.
Does anyone have any idea whether it's better to do UML before or after you write your program? Because in my experience, I've usually just done it as I go, but I think it's better to actually do it before you code. Does anyone?
Yeah, definitely before. In a lot of organizations, you're probably not going to be writing UML stuff for a long time because unless you're working for a small group, because usually they have architects that design the whole, program for you. So.
Yeah, I just took the system design class last semester. I don't know if you guys have taken that before.
Is
Yeah.
that the one with what's his name?
Who was the teacher? I can't remember.
McLaughlin?
No, McLaughlin wrote a lot of it, but I took it with a different instructor. I took the SQL class with McLaughlin.
I took it with McLaughlin on campus. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think he wrote a lot of it.
Yeah, last semester when I was in this class, a lot of the stuff that Brother McLaughlin teaches you supposedly is very backwards from what Brother Barney was expecting.
Oh, really? Okay. Awesome.
From what I understand, whatever you learned in that class is completely wrong, and Brother Barney's going to tell you how to do it.
Really interesting. All right. Yeah, I can't remember who my instructor was for that class, but I know with that class they had us do all the UML diagrams and everything. The what was taught was that we do all that before you start the actual coding. So
The idea is that it actually does save a lot of time if you do that too. I'm TAing for the Java 1 class right now as my practicum, my senior practicum. And they've changed the structure of that class since I took it. We didn't do anything with UML when I took it, but
really?
now they're actually making the students do their class diagrams before they write the code. And it really does make it a lot faster to write. Because by the time you start writing code, you already know what methods you're supposed to write and what variables you need. So.
Yeah. It's actually kind of nice. I wish they would have done that when I was in it.
That's
Me
how
too.
Interesting.
When I did this computer science software design class, we were supposed to do our documentation beforehand, but then we ended up changing how we did it so much as we learned more that we ended up changing our original documentation so it matched what we finally wrote. So that's why I'm in my experience, it didn't go that well, but I think you're probably right.
Well, it's okay to update it as you go because sometimes your design requirements change. I mean, when you're doing a large application that takes 2 or 3 years to write, your design requirements will change many times. I guess the idea is just that as design requirements change, you go update the documentation, then the code. So, but it's okay to update it as you go. But yeah.
Yeah. So here's I'll share my screen and I mean I don't know if you guys care or not. I can probably just wasting time, but this is kind of how they structured the class last semester. Let me see here. There it is there. So yeah, basically all the design elements, kind of the class diagrams, you do your assessment up front, then you're doing your diagramming, sequence diagramming, state diagrams, and so forth, and then we did an actual integration project. So so I had Brother Christensen for that. He was not an active participant in our class from what I recall. Graded everything, but that's kind of how he expected us to do, is actually finish all the diagramming and then move into code. That was the way he taught it, at least.
Did you guys actually code your integration project, or did you just?
No.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We didn't code ours either.
We didn't write a single line of code, really. We ended up just as all design and modeling, and then final presentation was all about the kind of the project plan.
Yeah.
And we had it when I did the project management class, the 380 class, and it follows a very similar format, except we did a lot of design up front, but then we did just practicing waterfall, Scrum, and then a method of your choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it was when I took it too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. All right, what else do we need to cover for today as far as meeting? We need set Saturday's meeting.
Yeah, well, we don't have to do 2 this week. We just do 1 a week.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Everyone else just needs to have their teaching videos posted, and we're supposed to do our team schedule.
Oh, right. as far as the teaching and all that? Does that have to
Yeah.
be done all in advance, or can we
I
just
think it's supposed
update
to be
it as
done
we
by our
go?
presentation next week, if I were to guess.
Oh wow.
I mean, that's literally just a complete guess, but
Okay.
an educated one. So, I think if everyone gets their own like personal schedules done this week and actually looks at it instead of, I know Sal's is great, but actually look at it and try to understand what the class is gonna look like, then we'll have a better idea when we get together next time of okay, what's realistic for us.
Okay.
That's all I've got.
Yeah, it's a good team goal. So yeah, if everybody can get their own kind of mapping done for their schedule, and just keep in mind we'll adjust it as needed. We want to try and learn and grow together. So if somebody's struggling with a certain topic and they need to move things around, we'll adjust accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Let's see. Who wants to do the minutes for next week?
I'll do them.
Jacob?
Yep.
And for next week, we've got an annual work conference that is in New York. It's like the biggest trade show we do every year. It's going to be, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make the meeting. So the later in the evening, the better. And then I may or may not be able to make it. I'm going to do my best to attend.
Okay.
Just so you know, I'm making a folder in our Google Drive for minute notes. That way we've got them all in one place instead of
Awesome.
cluttering up our...
Oh, are we not just putting them all in the same document?
I've got 2 documents here, 2 separate
I think
documents.
he just wants them all in one big long document.
One continuous.
That's a great plan.
Because I just kind of added mine on here, and I was wondering where Saturdays was, but so.
Oh, I had a separate document. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. It's not a
We
big
can just
deal.
copy.
We just
Yeah,
have to copy it in
blend
there.
it together.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, who's gonna set up the call for next week?
I can do it again.
Or we can have somebody who hasn't done it before. I don't know that really matters. It's not like it's a huge responsibility, but
Yeah. Now, the other thing I'd like to try, I don't know if it'll matter if it works, but this permanent link thing, I don't know if we were to launch that link again, would it start a whole new recording, or is it just add on to the existing recording? Does anybody know how that works?
I don't think you can record twice on the same link.
Okay.
But I could be totally wrong on that. So
I just wonder I'll try it. What I'll do is I'll just start a small video session afterwards with that link and see if it actually creates 2 different outputs or one that gets merged together.
yeah, it would be nice to be able to just do one. I know when I did my Java 1 class, we didn't have to record our whole meeting every time. We only had to record like 3 times a semester, so we just used the same link every week, and that was really nice.
So if we can do that, that'd probably be best. If not, yeah, then we'll need somebody else. I know I'm not going to volunteer because my schedule is going to be crazy next week.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I can set up the call if we need to or whatever, but so
Okay.
I haven't done it yet. But,
All right.
so,
You guys want to stick
I
with
guess
8 o'clock next Wednesday, right? 8 Mountain
Yeah.
Standard. Okay.
yeah,
Awesome.
that works good for me. So
Awesome. Well, guys, I got to go.
All right.
Okay.
Go
Thanks,
enjoy
Jake.
your dinner.
Have a good night.
Tell your wife sorry.
No worries.
Okay. Anything else we need to cover, or is that it?
That's it.
I think that's
Cool.
it.
Thank you guys. Appreciate everybody being here again. You guys are awesome.
All right. Good night.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.